Okay, this is Christophe Clugston, and I'm here for combat-judo.com and also fluentfighting.com. See me with the knife. It's because it's what the topic is going to be today. And I've noticed since I've watched a few knife review channels, some of them are pretty huge. A lot of people like to watch them, and tactical knife review channels. And then, of course, I get sent links to people who are talk about knife fighting or who think they're doing knife fighting, and then guys who actually have done knife fighting, and that would be the guys in the that are active military or guys that were prior military. And some of those guys are giving some pretty simplistic descriptions, and I gotta debunk, or I've got to call into the light because I'm too legit to quit. Remember, I'm always too legit to quit. The entire industry, basically, and that's on the knife reviewers and then also on the people who are saying that they're teaching knife fighting. Okay, so I'm going to go in segments here. I may jump around a little bit, but it all ties together. And what led me to this video is probably important to know. It's because a lot of these guys who are reviewing tactical knives, they're doing tactical knives, and they're saying, well, you know, I'm really not a knife fighter. I'm not a tactical guy. I don't know how to do this. It looks like this. It should be like this. Or they're taking knives, combat knives, or tactical knives, and I'll get into the difference here, or military knives, and they're taking them out and using them for woodcraft stuff. You know, they're hacking trees down and they're doing kindling, and they do the batoning thing, which is, if you don't know, it's where you split logs by putting the knife blade on top of a piece of wood, and then you bang on the top of it with another piece of wood so you can, you know, leverage it and cut it down, sort of taking the place of a hatchet. So a lot of these guys, like I'm saying, on these tactical reviews or knife reviews, some of the big giant ones like Nut and Fancy, which, you know, people like them or they don't like them, Gideon's Tactical, even guys saying their names are tactical, they don't know. I mean, they have never had any knife encounters. They have never been they haven't been trained in knife fighting, and they don't know what makes a good combat blade. So that led me to, they kept saying it all the time. I'm like, well, you know, someone needs to get in there who does know about knife fighting and knife training. And then that leads me now to the guys who are they're training knife systems. I'm going to even mention some systems here because overall, the Filipino martial arts guys and also the Silat guys, just, you know, point blank, covering lots. Yes, because generalizations are what you use. Gravity works. It's a generalization. It works. Does it exist in space? No, but it works everywhere else. And that's how drug companies market effective drugs. Does it work? If it only works in one case, then you can't approve it. If it works in 98% of the cases, then you approve it. And trying to use exceptions, which is some sort of thing that people are trying to do nowadays, exceptions don't disprove the rule. So yes, the problem with Filipino and Silat guys and some other people that I will name in a bit is that they assume that there's going to be a knife fight. Two guys both have knives the same length, and they're both standing. They're both being this close. Now, this is not going to work in reality. They love to play their games. They love to do their patterns, and they're going to do this and check, check, check. Well, number one, every time you're checking is a chance for you to die. Number two, this will not work in low light or dark. Three, no one runs patterns, and that's why you don't see these guys successful when you see knife attacks happening in the street. You don't ever see anybody able to pull that off. And number four, besides there's not patterns, is that they're too damn close. You don't want to be this close with knives. Now, I am an SME, a subject matter expert for militaries. I have been for over 20 years, and I've been known mainly for unarmed training, but also weapons, e-tools, and knives of all sorts. And been gravitated that way because people have found that what they learned isn't as comparable to what I'm teaching. In fact, we run a whole course now, the Commando Kilo course, which is 5 days long. And then I also do other things for different people. But just putting it out there so that I'm giving some of my background. And I've been in 2 knife fights not looking for any, unless there are loads of money involved, but I've actually had some operational experience. Now, let me tell you that you don't want to be in this position with knife on knife, because this is where, if, like I said, if it's dark, or if it's low lighting, you're gonna be stabbed, you're gonna be cut. Another thing that a lot of these guys are doing in the Filipino martial arts, and also Silat and another thing, they don't know what guys are wearing now. The war fighter nowadays, they're carrying, you got armor on, and if you're wearing plates, which most, and if you're talking SF, Rangers, Delta, SEALs, Marine Raiders, Recon, all of those guys are wearing plates, and that just depends on how much, and they're even wearing side plates, among other things. They're carrying a lot of shit, which from the World War II, Vietnam, nobody was carrying shit, you know, in comparison to the flak jacket in Vietnam. But you got guys in places that I train, like in the Philippines, those guys they're not wearing dragon armor or anything. They're not dragon skin. They're not wearing anything, you know. It's like, yeah, please, you know, get shot and killed. So nowadays, there's armor, and that changes everything that these guys are doing with their knives, because they don't realize it. The targets, a lot of the targets that they're trying to do with their multiple style is not going to work, and they're too close. It's just not going to happen. You need to have a system that works from the outside first. And so I'm going to mention some factors, because what a lot of people are thinking is they're thinking that they teach people as if they're going to get into a fight and someone's running at them, and they don't. The thing is, most knife attacks occur within 10 feet. The person comes at you within 10 feet, they already have, obviously, the knife out. Now, if you think you're going to, even this is a Boker, you know, if you think you're going to get this out of your pocket and get it, and this is obviously, I can flip this blade open. It's American Tonto blade, is what it's called. This steel is a little bit soft. I'm not going to use this. I don't like it. You know, these are cool. Get this out. Even if you were going to go to a switchblade, which is, this is a Chinese garbage steel used on this. Even using this, if you have to try to fish this thing out and get this out, you've already been stabbed. You've already been stabbed, and the stab is more dangerous than the cut. That's another thing. The Filipino martial arts want to use a lot of slashes, stabs, because they're built around weapons that are much longer. This is an actual gunting. This is the Filipino Recon Marines, and actually the entire Filipino Marines. This is their official weapon. They use this. They use this all the time. They have effectively gone with no firearms and captured people just by using guntings. Okay, this thing is somewhat soft steel. I've sharpened it even more than initially was. This was given to me when I was there by the blade master, Master Sergeant Prado. I forget, because they keep their Marine ranking. They leave out gunny. I mean, he's a Master Sergeant, but they say tactical or technical or something now instead of gunny. But anyway, that being what that is, that slashing comes from the style, because this curve, gunting means scissors. The scissor style blade doesn't lend itself to thrusting, so they take that to their knife thing. Now, that's not the best thing. That's not what you should be doing. And as I'm saying, you got guys teaching people that they're going to get out these folders, you know, spider codes. There's all sorts of flip systems that pull the blade. It's too slow. It is not going to work, because they're not dealing with this. They're dealing with people staying out and then coming in, seeing them. You're going to be under stress. I'm not going to go into all of this, because that's part of the course. But what I will cover are things that you would use. Now, I got to get into this, because a lot of people are calling knives tactical knives or combat knives. And they are not combat knives. They are not. They are attacking knives. I see systems like Piper and Libre, which people, oh, it's so they know that. They're attacking systems. They're basically blades against people with nothing. You know, I can teach you how to kill somebody in an hour, less than an hour, and I mean do it well in less than an hour. If the other person doesn't have a knife, you know. And their Piper's using really crappy blades because that's what they said. You know, people are using in South Africa. You find the same thing in the UK, where a lot of kitchen knives are used because that's what they can get their hands on. And look, you can get killed by a bad blade. Can it work over and over? Will the blade break? Will it go dull? Yeah. That's why people like certain steels. Now, that's what you're an attack system. Attacking people with a blade is not a combat blade, and it's not a knife fighting system. A knife fighting system would be against someone else with a knife. You know, coming up and running up and doing these moves, which I can easily stop with another blade. And they're doing coming up here and cutting, stab a million times is not impressive to me. That is not a knife fighting system. That is a knife attacking system. And on the back end of that, what you have is a knife defense system where you cannot use a military combat blade because you won't be able to get it. You won't be able to get it out, use it as quickly as some of the defensive knives. Now, defensive knives are meant to be used in the same situation. You're very close, and it's better than nothing, you know. Or you're struggling over a handgun. He's got the handgun, or you got the handgun, and he's on it too. You can get these defensive knives out and use them. And here are some. And the whole point of this, or someone's running on you, like I say, within 10 feet, you see it. If you can get a defensive knife out if it's the correct defensive knife. And I'm going to show you some that I think qualify for that. Of course, here's a K-bar, if you want to, either way. This is the TDI. This is a small. A lot of police are using these. The handle's very good on these, but this comes out extremely fast, and that's what you have to have. This is, although, you know, quick draw with guns never existed, it does exist with knives when you're being attacked, okay? Now, this can be used in all those, you know, this is an attacking system used defensively. It's not a knife fighting system. And I like that. There's a larger version of that too that I like. Now, some people are into the ripping because they feel like if they end up in a grappling, the guy's on top of you and struggling for the handgun, or is, you know, trying to hit you with a stick or whatever, you got hold of the stick. These ripping knives are very good. Now this is set up. See how quickly I can get this thing out? This is another cold steel for the money. Cold steel, you know, is very good. This thing is, of course, you know, I could do all this. I could do all this stuff all day long. You know, all this. This close is going to work. Now, is this for a military situation? No, because if you're going to be using this across the abdomen, which is one of the places that if you're mounted, you would be using them besides the legs. You're going to run into plate carriers and stuff. Of course, you know, okay, I'm not giving out free lessons on knife fighting, but I'm just saying, as a ripping knife, this is extremely quick. This has been modified to get this blade out faster. Now, the knife or the knife style, tactically, as another backup, if I'm, you know, high speed doing infiltration. If I'm an HK team, people know what I'm talking about, who know what I'm saying. If you're a long range reconnaissance team, you got to get in, you got to get out, whatever your chances of confrontation up close, room clearing, when you can't get the carbine up, you can't get to the handgun because they busted out of a closet and they come on you. These knives, these T-bar knives are one of the most dangerous and best knives because it doesn't take up a lot of space. It's very light. It's quick. It's quick to get out. I mounted this thing. I like cross drawing. I always mounted the thing over here on your whatever you want to call it nowadays. What is it called? It's your rig. Okay, it's your rig. Whatever LBE, you know, Alice back in the day, Molly compatible, whatever. Anyway, the thing is, this thing is actually, because it is so sharp, and the way I can use it, I can cut as well as do all this, stabbing. You're getting cut, a million times. This is the best type of knife. People don't look at these, but these are the best type of knives, and you're not going to lose this thing. Retention. They're not going to be able to grab that blade. Try to get that out of my hand. Please try to get that out of my hand, because you're going to be getting. I'm punching through your hand on if you try to grab it, because this thing is sharp enough. Your hand is useless. Okay, so this is something you see some people using in Spec Ops. Some people don't. They go for other things that are. They go for strange things. Tacking knives. They use the tacking knives like the, what is it called? Blackhawk Night Edge is one of them. They use that SOG Seal Pup. Yeah, there's a couple versions of that. They use, is it? Yeah, that's SOG, right? Yeah, I think it is SOG. Anyway, they use that. Now, that's part of the attack defensive thing. So a lot of people say, they have a knife fighting system. Any knife like that is not designed for knife fighting. And if you think it is, I got some guys you can go to and ask them to pull out their fighting knives, because what you're seeing nowadays, if for military utility, what they want to carry is a 5-inch blade. It's about a 5-inch blade. Before, like you talk about the K-bar fighting knife, which was used in a lot of countries. In France, it was used for the Marines, World War II, and the Army, World War II, and the Navy, actually. That is a 7-inch blade. That's still a very good knife. And the steel is pretty good. It's shifted, I think it's 1095. Crow Van, I think is what the steel is. Now, I don't have all those knives with me here, because I can't keep everything I have where I'm at. But and people are going to weird out about this knife. Now, I'm showing this knife because this is people think that is not a combat knife because they don't know, but this is. And this is, once again, cold steel for the money. This is a 1055 steel. And it's thin, and pretty flexible. And it's easy to buy 1055 is pretty good. Steel. Now, the one thing I want to point out about this, what makes this an actual combat knife, and that I will definitely fight your ass with this, bring on your $400 4-inch knife. Yeah, like SEALs are using trim end knives now, good quality and stuff, but they're missing these hand guards. This is something you're going to see, and these are small, but this has hand guard. Okay, now the thing that I'm not going to go through how I'm going to use this, because we use it differently than other people, than they do. Regardless, there are certain things that the handles are important. This I don't like, but the handle's very important. This two-sided, two-edged blade, this belly allows this to cut very well, and the tip, which is very important, which is what a Bowie works very well with, because it has a leading edge there. And you hear people talk about the back cut. We do back cuts all over the place. Regardless of the knife, it doesn't work well with the dagger. But this will back cut and mess your world up. Plus, this is good for slashing. It will slash very well. And because this is a thin blade, this thing sinks into you. This will go through you with zero effort on my part. So this qualifies as an actual combat knife. Is it made as a pry bar? Hell no. This is not a pry bar. Is this made to, this will, you could cut up branches for firewood stuff. It is not made as a camping knife. It is not made as a survival knife. This is a fighting knife. And that's what I have to say, fighting knife. A lot of people say fighting knives, but they really want them to be utilitarian knives. But a fighting knife, what I got to say, as opposed to these other guys, like I talked about, if they don't have a metal cross guard, it's not a fighting knife, because there's things that I'll do, and if you try to face me with some small bladed knife with no hand guard, you're done. I mean, quickly done. And I'm not the only one that can do that. Go to to Lynn from Cold Steel. He's actually pretty good with blades. He's been spending a lot of time with it, and he'll show you why you need a hand guard. Go to James Keating, another guy. In fact, his corsata is designed around the whole fact because it also has killians that stick out. So you got a four-way thing here. Now, is it Fitson's has giant fighting knives. Bagwell, also Bagwell Bowies were used in special forces back in the 80s, I think it was. Randall, even in the 70s, Randall's famous blade, now overpriced in my book. But the thing is, if you don't have a handguard, it's not a combat fighting knife. All these others are attacking knives. And you say, well, I got to get it out of my thing, wait. Yeah, fine. That's an attacking knife or a defensive last ditch. See, that's the difference. These guys, they don't want to fight someone else with a knife. They want to be the one with the knife. And like I'm saying, that's low. That's low. We're talking on skill level. I mean, come on. If you can't kill someone else and you have a knife and they don't have a knife, come on. I mean, what the hell are you doing in the military? Or what are you doing, period? Can you jump on one foot without falling over and landing with a broken leg? You know, I mean, if you've got zero coordination, you can still kill somebody that doesn't have a knife, and you have a knife. So teaching hand-to-hand zero distance warfare with blades, blade against blade, which will happen when you're in room clearing situations, when you're doing H&K, when you're doing kidnap, when you're doing reconnaissance snatch jobs and some other things that people who do that know what I'm talking about. You need that skill because you're going to run into other people who are doing it too, and are attacking methods, and you want to come in with a backhand. You just lost your hand, and you think you're going to check. Well, I'm just going to leave it at that right now. So what I have to say is that I will be doing more. I don't get any knives for free or anything, so I can't do a bunch of reviews of knives. People want to get knives to me, which is kind of difficult because I'm in Southeast Asia, but I travel a lot, so it could happen. But what I'm saying is there are knives that are good for attacking. That's easy. Attacking knives are easy. Anything can work as an attacking knife. Defensive knives, they got to have those parameters of being quickly accessed and used, pulled out, carrying it. You have to be able to carry it in a position you can get to quickly. They can't be giant blades because you just can't carry giant blades around all the time, You can't carry those Bagwell big blades or the Corsata or a Fitson, You can't carry that stuff. It's too huge. As far as what I'm saying is I will definitely review your knives and see, do they work? And I'll put them against actual things that I know that happen in blade fighting, not just, hitting wood. That stick has never attacked me. The campfire has never attacked my ass. My pulling it out of the rig, whatever you want to call the thing these days, pulling out the rig and then, jabbing the guy in the throat is not what I call knife fighting at all. And now if you're facing someone over there with a Kalashnikov blade, not a good blade, by the way, but that, maybe they got a Glock blade. It's okay. They got a Glock blade. They got whatever, which is very common. Very common. If you're dealing with insurgents and urban warfare and jungle warfare, this stuff is common. You have got to know how to use a blade, and you can't be using those attacking 4-inch blades. You need a blade that's 7 inches, 6 to 7 at the least for carry. Now, guys who go into knife fighting, I'll just throw this out for you in this video, it's 9 inches and above. All these guys talking about fighting Bowies and stuff, it's always 9-inch blades and above. 9 to 12 generally. Okay, so anyway, this is, check out if you want to know more, or you want to learn more, actual commando, real commando knife fighting, not just knife attacking, then you can go to combat-judo.com and also fluentfighting.com. Both of them work for both of those places. And we're running courses, a Kilo course. The Kilo Commando Blade course will be run. And you can always do private training, all that. But what I just want to say is that don't get caught into people who presenting something and you're looking at it and saying, well, that must be really cool. if they're doing all their blade work next to each other and they're doing this, passing, and they're doing patterns. Number one, they're doing patterns. Turn the lights off and let's see them do it, okay? Number three, this will not happen because you will be dead already. No one's going to get involved in this. It doesn't happen in real knife fights, okay? And the prison, you can watch prison stuff. You got to be able to handle that. So without getting into that, and I just want to say that as I started out, tactical knife reviews and knife reviewers, you guys are right. You guys are not knife fighters. You haven't been in knife fights, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. I am. This is what I do. I mean, I'm not actively going around looking for knife fights, but I'm a subject matter expert for militaries. I was a professional fighter. I do this. I've done this. I've done this for over 20 years. So, yeah, I thought it's time to share a little bit of this to clear up the errors and the lies that people are saying out there. So anyway, check it out. Oh, you can also get me on Facebook. I have Facebook groups, the Combat Judo group, Tiger Clan Weapons Fighter, which is what this fits into, and also then my Clugston Combat Systems page. Check them all out. Like this, share this, subscribe it. Leave comments if you want, but to make sure you use a real name. Don't be some sort of Fireball 4002. You suck. That's not a no. Ad hominem attacks without analysis and without your credentials don't mean much to me. All right, and I'm not gonna. I don't think it's gonna mean anything to anybody. But anyway, so check that out, man. Check it out, because fighting knives and attacking knives, defensive knives, combat knives, and knife fighting is different than what everyone has been telling you. Yeah, because I'm too legit to quit, man.